Hey there, I am D. A few years ago, the British publishing company Black Flame was authorized to write several novelizations of New Line Cinema movies, such as Jason X, Freddy vs. Jason, The Texas Chainsaw Massacre, and the Final Destination movies. These novels were apparently so successful that Black Flame got authorization to write original novels based on the movies. And today's novel is one of them. Friday the 13th, Church of the Divine Psychopath. Now, unlike the Eric Morse series, Jason actually does appear in these. But besides that, they at least drew their own covers, whereas these people just use promotional material from one of the movies. Which wouldn't be so bad if the Jason on the cover even resembles Jason in the novel. Other than that, they used a tagline that is accurate, funny, and actually makes sense. Unfortunately, they used that same tagline for all 5 of the novels, rather than a different one for each. So Black Flame makes Eric Morse's novels seem more creative in comparison. Be very afraid. At the bottom of the lake, the corpse anchored to the sediment on the lakebed by several concrete blocks. Sounds similar to how the 6th movie ended. Which makes me wonder, is this taking place immediately after the 6th movie, and as such, does it ignore every movie that came after? She cocked the mirror towards herself and checked her reflection. Just the right amount of eyeliner to bring out the flecks of gold in her green eyes. Don't want to look too good, too sexy for church after all. I realize the title is Church of the Divine Psychopath, but I didn't think an actual church would be involved, if that makes sense.
Hot in here, isn't it?
Long began.
We won't have to worry about this heat much longer.
The preacher replaced the handkerchief and leaned forward on the podium again, smiling.
We have a new home!
A new home? That wouldn't happen to be in 1428 Elm? Yeah, I know, that's from Nightmare on Elm Street. But seriously, why would a churchgoer want to go to Crystal Lake of all places?
I know that having faith can sometimes be a burden. Your friends, sometimes even your family, can make you feel like, well, like there's something wrong with you for believing so strongly.
It should be noted that Black Flame is a British company. How's that relevant? Well, in the UK, if people look at you as though there was something wrong with you, if you're a believer, it makes perfect sense. In the US, however, where this story is supposed to take place, and where the majority of the people are believers, they'd be the ones looking at you as though there was something wrong with you if you don't believe. So what the hell is Father Long talking about? And again, it's the main villain we're talking about, so... That's right. Long is the villain, not Jason. This may well be another Eric Morse novel. All that's missing is Long putting on Jason's mask and... well, you know. Long spread his arms before the massive wooden cross and the figure bound to it.
I feel sad for them, because the hand of judgment, the heavenly vessel, will soon be resurrected, and they will know that they have sinned.
Upon the cross, lashed tightly to the thick beams with heavy rope, hung the lifeless body of Jason Voorhees. Where do I begin? Yes, Friday the 13th had its characters you want to die, but they at least had the excuse that they were experimenting with the genre, and even if not, some of these characters had some redeeming qualities, so while not much, you do feel a little sorry when they die. So by depicting these people as crazy, you're turning them into the villains that Jason is supposed to be. But that's not even the worst part.
If you have sex in a van, forget it. Smoke dope in these movies, you're gonna die. If you're ugly, you're gonna die. The fat girl sitting on the side of the road eating a banana. Skinny dipping, of course. The practical joker must die. Raggedy man that's standing by the side of the road and says, "We are doomed." Anybody who says Jason is dead dies. Being a bitch, you know, he died for that. Wearing too much makeup is enough to die. So, you know, there are many reasons that Jason will kill you.
Why does he even bother to try and kill that final girl? Right, now for some reason this seems to mean to people that Jason would only kill you under those circumstances and leave you alone otherwise. If so, why does he even bother to try and kill the final girl? Again, you may think that since I'm talking about the main villains, I shouldn't care too much about them not making any sense. I would agree, except Jason was known for killing horny, dope-smoking teenagers. Jason Voorhees. She'd grown up on spooky bedtime stories about a relentless killer who only preyed on sluts and dopers. Even the writer seems to agree with his own characters.
They may have been judges as sinners in God's eyes.
Isn't that supposed to be judged as sinners? Typo, happens in the best of stories.
Mostly when you're done with that.
Okay. That's a grammar error again. It happens.
What Ortega had worked too hard to see.
Shouldn't that first two be spelled with two O's?
He swung upwards with un left. Dark as a nun's ass crack out there, he thought. He glanced around feeling anxious.
They even proofread this? I can forgive one or two, maybe three such errors, but this? But you know what's really weird? These errors don't show until late in the novel. It's like even the editors themselves just said, eh.
What do you mean, meh?
They hated the book themselves, so they didn't bother to read the whole thing. Makes me wonder why I should. Because I have nothing better to do.
Kelly was 13 when she met Morgan. He was, to her desperate eyes anyway, a doppelganger for Corey Feldman.
Corey Feldman? Oh, because he was in the Friday the 13th movies. Any more names you like to drop?
It was just a legend. Something parents told their kids in a pathetic attempt to keep them out of trouble. Like La Llorona or that Kruger guy.
I told my shrink Dr. Loomis about this, but he said I've watched far too many Wes Craven movies. I mean, just because Kane Hodder lives on the last house on the left, that doesn't mean that his house is basically Jigsaw's cube. If it's not funny when I'm doing it, why should it be funny when they are doing it?
Jason's head jerked up. Yellow eyes burned from the dark depths of rotten sockets. Meredith, do me a favor, honey. Ride along with Curtis, will you? Meredith's joyful dancing came to a stop. I wouldn't ask, but he'll be all alone in that truck. Sure be nice of you to keep him company, honey.
Long is asking an underage girl to keep an older man company during a long ride. We all know where this is going.
Father Long stood again, seeking out the wives of the dead men. I will take those women to my side and make them my own beloved wives.
And on top of that, takes advantage of grieving women. Please tell me he dies a satisfactory death.
The moonlight filtered through a nearby window, delineated the familiar contours of Jason's hockey mask. Long walked towards him. I know I have sinned, in my life and in my heart, the preacher began, but I've done my best to atone for those sins.
The machete sliced through the darkness, sinking into the left side of Long's head just below the ear, and coming to a stop just under his nose. Jason gripped the top of Long's head with his free hand and wrenched the blade loose. Long collapsed to his knees, looking up at Jason with the eyes of a dying animal.
Praise God in all his wisdom.
I don't even know where to begin now. Never mind for a moment that what just happened here is physically impossible, as that one blow should have killed him already. No, what makes this worse is... No, take Melissa from part 7. She's a character that nobody likes, has no redeeming qualities whatsoever, and her death near the end was not only the last death in the movie, but it was swift, leaving no room for her to redeem herself from being a bitch, making her death all the more satisfactory. Here, this one blow should have killed him, but it didn't, leaving far too much room for him to redeem himself. If the idea was that we're supposed to feel sorry for Long, well, it kind of blows out of the water. You see, the guy is a bigot who endorses pedophilia and puts people's lives at risk. Why not just let him confront Jason, believing himself to be immune to his judgment, only to find out that Jason doesn't care about who or what he is at all? Now that would have been fun. But as is... Now, with all the many ways in which they tried to kill Jason before, how do they do it here? Well, during all this, there is a team of soldiers that have been sent out on a mission to eliminate Jason. They come fully prepared with guns and bullets that were made especially for this mission. How do they fare? Round after round slammed into Jason's torso. Chunks of meat burst from his body, accompanied by spurting ribbons of blood. Then Noon's gun clicked. She couldn't believe it. His chest had to be like meat pudding by then, and he was still coming at them. Not very well, I'm afraid. The grenade hit the floor near Jason's feet and exploded. A severed leg, torn off just above the knee. Jason's severed leg. Hop smiled. This might just work. It shouldn't. A little known fact about grenades is that it's not the explosion itself that kills, but the shards of the grenade that are thrust about because of the explosion. Really, you should think of it as one gun that shoots in many random directions all at once. So if bullets can't even stop Jason, why should a grenade? Are they knack with the grenades? They're somehow special... Oh, wait, wrong franchise. Bottom line, this book, while admittedly trying to be of some literary value, unlike, well, you know who, it still leaves much to be desired. This was D. I'm signing off.